All right, guys, if you're into wholesaling or buying and flipping properties, specifically land, I've got to tell you about this scam that's going on because it almost got me. It was that close. So here's how the scam works, and here's how I found out about it. So I had this lady call me. She was a wholesaler, and she said, "Hey, I got this property under contract for $16,000. I think it's worth a lot more, and you want to take a look at it?" So I'm like, "Sure, I'll take a look at it." I said, "But I've had a lot of wholesalers bring me stuff, and usually it's not a deal, but I'll look at it." So I looked at it, and sure enough, it was 16,000 she had it under contract for. It was worth 60 easy. It was in a prominent community, expensive houses. And so I called her back and I said, "Okay, what's your wholesale fee that you want?" And she said 15,000. That would put it at 31,000. That would leave 30,000 spread. The problem was the cheapest properties in the area were 32,000. So I told her, "Look, I like the property, I like the deal, but the problem is I always look at worst case scenario and I don't gamble with my money. So if I give you 15,000 as a wholesale fee and then I have to sell it for 32, I lost money. The highest I can go is 5,000. So she said, "Well, I can do 10." And I said, "I can do 5. That's it, 5,000.
I can do 5. That's it.
And so she thought about it a little while and she came back and said, "Okay, this is just the second deal that I've done, so I'll take 5,000. Everything sounds good, right? So that's 16,000 plus 5,000 is 21,000 plus closing costs would put me at 22,000. Second issue, I don't have the liquid capital right now. So I have a money partner. I go talk to him. He's uncomfortable because it's out of state. I've never dealt with this lady before. I said, "That's fine. It's my normal partner that I use, and he has the first right of refusal." So I said, "That's fine, no problem." I called someone else that I've wanted to work with in the past, a good friend of mine, and he works in the banking industry. And he looked at it and he said, "It looks really good. The numbers look good. The problem that I have is usually in banking, we get about one fraudulent case per year." He said, "But with these land lots in this area, because real estate's so hot in this area, that we've gotten 2 fraudulent land deals come through that we just found out about in the last 60 days. And so here's how the fraud works. The person sells a piece of land that is not theirs. They put a sign in the ground or they post it on Zillow for sale by owner, and they don't own the property at all. And they sell it, they do the negotiation with the buyer, and they act like they're the owner, and in this case, they're using a bank, so they use a title company. So I'm thinking to myself, how do they do this? And here's how they close on the property. They actually go through the process of getting a fake ID or multiple fake IDs, just so that they can close as this person. And then when they have their money, they go to one of these like quick cash places because it's a cashier's check. They go to like Amscot or something. They cash the check. They disappear into the wind. And everything seems good. The buyer owns the property. It gets recorded as his, and all is well until about a year or two later. And then the owner notices, "I'm not getting a tax bill." So he calls the county.
"Hey, county, I haven't got a tax bill. What's going on?"
You haven't got a tax bill because you don't own the property.
"What you talking about, Willis?"
And so that's how they find out that they don't own the property. And then because it was done with title insurance, everything has to be reversed. And yes, the title insurance pays for the reversal, but title insurance only covers, they're insuring and guaranteeing that the title information was done right, the title paperwork was done right, and there's notaries, this person is who they claim to be based on the information that they've given. But when it's wrong, title insurance kicks in. So the title insurance, yes, they made a mistake. It wasn't their fault, but they made a mistake, so they have to reverse it. So they reverse it. Now, what does that mean for the buyer? What if I already started building on that property? We have a huge problem. Or what if I got the cash? In this instance, I bought it for 21. Let's say I sold it for 62. That's 22 to 32, 42, 52, 62. So I got $40,000, and I take my 40,000 and let's say I spend it. I buy a car, I do whatever. I pay taxes on it, right? So I take out my tax money, I spend the rest, and 2 years down the road, or 5 years, or 7 years, however long down the road, some attorney starts knocking on my door, or a title company calls me and says, "We have a problem," right? And I've had problems with title companies, like issues with title where I've had to use title insurance, but they weren't issues like that where I had to give money back. It was just we had to have some more paperwork signed because something was missing or whatever. So in that situation, the people would be liable to give that money back or to make everything right. There would be attorneys involved. It would be very, very messy. And I'll tell you another piece of this too. The title company that we were using, I checked them out. They're attorneys, they're in that state, they're licensed in that state. I looked up their licensing information. Make sure you do that. Make sure you're dealing with an actual title insurance company. And make sure they have good ratings and they weren't created in the last month, right? Well, the wholesaler, turns out this is just her second deal. And like the title company attorneys, when I talked to them, they said, I think this lady's getting hoodwinked too, because I was trying to decide, do I get the authorities involved, whatever. So I'm sitting here editing this video and I'm still kind of torn. Should I turn everybody in on this? Because maybe she was involved. Maybe the title company was involved. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Do you think I should report it to? And who would I report it to? Because I don't know. Because it's out of state. I'm buying in a different county, so it's not my county. My police department or deputy wouldn't have jurisdiction. Who do I report that to? Let me know in the comments if you think I should and who would be the best person. And here's how I found out for sure that it was a fraud. The property was listed on Zillow for $15,500. On Redfin, it said that it's worth $51,000. And then when we checked Realtor, on Realtor, it was actually listed by an agent for $59,000 and it had been active for 28 days. So I just called the agent up and I said,
Hey agent, what's going on with this property?
Are you talking about the property at blank? Well, that property is actually, there's a fraud issue because someone has it listed on Zillow.
Oh really? Tell me about that.
Well, I've already reported it to Zillow 5 times to try to get it taken off and they haven't done a thing. I've also contacted the police department and Association of Realtors to try to get them to do something about it. And I've also got an attorney and we've clouded the title so that you won't be able to close.
Okay, thank you.
And then we talked for quite a long time about this issue.
Have a good day. Goodbye.
So that's how we found out about it. But there's not always going to be a realtor. So this is what I want to tell you. If you're a wholesaler, be careful. If you are an investor, be very careful. Make sure you trust the person that you're working with, but also make sure you trust their judgment. I always tell my kids, because they want to go do things that I say, well, you're not doing that, or you're not staying out that late or whatever. And they say,
oh, you don't trust me, Dad.
I trust you, but I don't trust your judgment. And there is a difference. That's what you got to make sure of when you're working with people. You got to trust them, but you got to trust their judgment. And you also have to do your own due diligence. And if you have red flags, if something doesn't feel right, if something in your spirit says, I don't know about this, then walk away, because you don't want to be in a mess 2 years down the road. On top of that, I can't stress this enough. It's better if you find your own deals, because if someone's bringing you a property as a wholesaler, you don't know how they found it. In this situation, I think she just contacted the person on Zillow, but you don't know for sure if they're trying to fraud you or defraud you, or if they've gotten sucked in and hoodwinked into something. But if I do a mailing and I mail a blanket mailing to property owners that own $20,000 pieces of land and they all live, say, out of state from that land, or they all owe back taxes, whatever, I'm mailing the property where they get their tax bill. So my mail is going where the registered tax bill is going. So when a person calls me, I know that it's the right person. Does that make sense? So please make sure that you're doing your due diligence. Please be aware of that scam. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. Please share it with somebody, and leave some comments. Any other frauds that are going on in the real estate space, please comment below so other people are aware. Read the comments so you're aware. God bless. Have a good day.